Welcome to the show, guys. Unmasking the Blueprint is a unique visual podcast that will begin each show with a blueprint shuffle. Yep, you heard me correctly. We will be shuffling. Grab a pen and a paper because nuggets will be dropped for you to use and grow. We will interview business owners and music artists, and you'll be able to meet the person behind the brand. Each show will have a giveaway, so stay tuned to win.
Woo! Welcome to the show, guys. Thank you, husband, as usual. Thank y'all for tuning in on this wonderful Tuesday. Sending a shout out and a prayer to our people in Florida right now, wishing them safety from the storm. So, guys, we have the amazing, the wonderful LaJena James. Guys, we already had her on the show before, but every time I look up, she was boom, doing something else, boom, doing something else. I'm like, hold on, we got to get her back on the show. What's up, Shay? Let's see if she is available. Hey, Miss LaJena James, how are you? You can't hear me? Can y'all hear me? My volume said you can. Shay, can you hear me? Piers, go get on Facebook and see, can you hear? Okay, Shay said she can hear me, LaJena. God bless you. God bless you. The audience said they can hear me. God bless you.
Thank you. I can hear you on my phone, but I can't hear you through here.
Really? They say loud and clear through my big old mouth.
But I can't hear you through here.
Really? They say loud and clear through my big old mouth. Okay, guys, we're trying to get it together. We have the amazing LaJena James. She has not one new book that came out. She has 2 new books that has came out. And so I'm hoping that she's able to get everything together so she can tell y'all about all the amazing things that she has going on. That's why we heard her sneeze though. So I think we can hear her. I think what she's saying is she can't hear us. I think that's what she's saying. She like, Say something.
Yeah. I can hear you on my phone because I'm listening to it on my phone, but I can't hear you through my computer.
So we can hear you loud and clear. And so if you do, could you tell the audience a little bit about you?
Okay. Sure. So I'm LaJena James. I'm an author, wife, mom, coach, and look, all the things that God has equipped me to do, I am her.
I love it. I love it. Ernest said, try turning up your volume on your iPad and see if that helps. So it's a little bit of delay, guys, because she's trying to listen from another device. So she's going to work on that real quick. And so with all the ministries that you do, why do you feel like being called through ministries through your writing?
Can you repeat that one more time? I heard
And
you.
so my question was, so I know you do a plethora of things, right? And so right now you have written 2 new books, right? And so why do you feel like that's a calling, one of your ministries?
So one of the things that I did probably sometime last year, our family relocated from Houston to Kansas City, Missouri. So one of the things I really did, because I was like, I'm sitting here alone, I really need to assess who it is that God has called me to be. So I went and did some spiritual gifts assessing. Just kind of went back and assessing my life and period. So what are the things that I was most passionate about? What are those things that really gave me fulfillment and brought joy to my life, where I feel like other people's lives are being impacted by that? And that is through encouragement, and that could be through me speaking, that can be through me singing, as well as through me writing. So I started to just kind of write in a blog form, writing copy on social media, and I would have people come to me like, just ask for advice on studying scripture, just various things. So I really just kind of explored that, just started doing some writing. And then December, I had a publishing company to come and reach out to me and ask me if I would be interested in writing a book. And so I started this journey of writing this couple's devotional, which was an amazing journey. It stretched me as a writer. But I knew throughout this journey that this is something that God, had called me to do. And I really wanted to dive deeper into that. So, I don't turn anything away from God, especially when I know I'm spiritually gifted to do it. I talk about spiritual gifts. I know that's something we're going to get into in just a minute, but encouragement is one of those things that I'm gifted to do, spiritually gifted to do, teaching as well as leading. So that can come in many forms for people, especially believers. You just have to really assess your personality, your gifts, your skills, natural gifts and skills and abilities, and see what it is that God has equipped you to do, so that you can continue to help build up the kingdom of God.
Oh, I love that. I love that. How has your journey been in writing 2 books? You kind of touched on it, but that was kind of a question that I had for you too. Do you feel like you can expand, or you feel like you want me to go to my next question?
Yeah, I'll expand on it. So really, I wrote 2 books within probably a really, I say 90 days, but it's probably like a more 75-day time frame. Because of the company that I went through, they had a really strict deadline. So I really had 60 days to write a book, and it was 150 something pages for that first book. But so I was really like being timed on every single thing. So writing that first book took me about 60 days, and then going back editing with them as well. And then the other book, which is the one that we're gonna share tonight, the Bible journal, that was super quick because it's a low content book. So it took me probably like 2 days or something to complete that. But that journey was a stretch. One, because I wanted to make sure that it was going to be biblically accurate and to speak to biblical truth with the devotional that I did, but also with the journal, just making sure that it allowed space enough for women to really dive deep into their own spiritual journey, and so they can approach Bible study in a unique way that allows them to grow and really understand scripture for themselves.
I love that. I love that. What are other ways believers or women can use their spiritual gifts to serve and glorify God?
Yeah, so like I said, I did an assessment, and that's something that I do with my clients when I coach them, is do a spiritual gifts assessment. And I love doing that because it really kind of helps you look at the total person, their personality, what it is that they may have done in the past that has brought joy, fulfillment. They felt like they, on the right path of that. But I think understanding and truly understanding what you've been spiritually gifted to do allows you to move in that space, because we'll get in church and the ministry leader may say, hey, you good at teaching. You should teach Bible study. Or they say, oh, you like kids because you have kids, so you should probably be over children's ministry. Not necessarily being thrown into things, but really like being intentional about what it is that God has gifted me. And when I say gifted, I mean when you were born again, He has gifted each and every one of us with a spiritual gift or gifts. that we are to use in the body, in the local church, and as well as in the ministry outside of the church to help bring others to Christ. So really just assessing what it is that God has get spiritually gifted you to do, and then going on that path of, exploring different options of, in ministry, outside of ministry, but really honing into, okay, what is it that I know I can do and not what somebody wants me to do? Because we have a lot of people that sit in pews, or, they may be serving in ministries that they're not really equipped to serve in, because they're just filling a void that the local church needs, but you're not helping, you might be hindering.
Oh, that's good. Guys, anybody who follow me know that Unmasking the Blueprint, this is one of the ministries that God gave me. Unmasking the Blueprint, the whole purpose of Unmasking the Blueprint is to interview entrepreneurs, to interview the person behind the brand. If y'all know me, anything about me, y'all know that I actually meditate and I talk and I wait for God to answer. And so I said, God, which one we do now? I asked the question, and I went about my day, and he was like, "You're gonna do a podcast?" I'm like, "Oh, okay. Now, what is it gonna be about?" Right? And so when you are a true believer, and you really honestly ask God, what is it you want me to do? That's why I never beg for bread. That's why I never go hungry, because I walk in his light, And so with all that being said, I love everything that she's saying, because what she's saying is absolutely true. God gives us all gifts. Now, are we supposed to take, and I'm not throwing any shade at anybody, so please don't take it that way. But when God gives you a gift, I don't get paid for this gift. So I can't go and do podcasts all day because I don't get paid. I don't eat off this podcast, right? So I only do it once a day, but I'm gonna do God's will, because this is what God told me to do, But then I have to go out and do work. And I say that because a lot of times we just willy-vanilly and just, I'm finna quit my job and bake cakes. I'm finna quit my job and work for the church. I'm finna quit my job and do A, B, and C. And LaJena, jump in if I'm wrong, but that's not what God says when he gives us a gift. Because we also supposed to be able to have an overflow to feed to his church. And we can't be a follower of God and do God's ministry if we also can't bless his church in the same token. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want, as you were speaking, and I'm glad you brought that up, because we're in a culture and climate where, we want to secure the bag. We want to, have multiple businesses. We want to be girl boss babe, all these things. When God may be saying to you, I need for you to truly serve in this area that may not bring you a check. And you got to be okay with that. Writing books, people think like, oh, you're an author, that's so lucrative. Not necessarily.
I made a couple of coins.
Especially when you self-publish, there's a lot that goes on behind that, but you got to be obedient to what it is that God has called you to do and fulfill that, because I believe that God is going to take care of you no matter what. And so I had to even get out of my own head that there may not be a dollar sign attached to this, and that's okay, because I'm here to serve, because it's not about me. It's about uplifting other people and empowering them so that they can go out and live the life that God has called them to do. And our general purpose and all that is to glorify God. And how am I doing that? I can't glorify God if I'm worried about this. I'm worried about a bag, or I'm worried about what can I get out of this. We can't be in the mindset of so much of getting and we're not willing to give. God said we need to die to our flesh daily and empty of ourselves every day so that we can serve and glorify him.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Y'all be getting these nuggets. Hey, Free. Hey, Shay. Free say, teach. She said, I love LaJena. All right. So what are you most excited about in serving?
Yeah, so what I'm most excited about is really seeing other people flourish. I think for me, that is, I guess that's the teacher in me too, is, when I was teaching in the classroom, I just love being able to see my students like get it, the light bulb going off, them succeeding with whatever goals that they had set out for the year. But I just love to see other people flourish, and I want them, to win, because I can really be behind the scenes. I don't have to be, up front. People may not believe that, but I really don't. Like I think I'm more like the introvert extrovert. I don't know what you call it, introvert extrovert person, where I can be in front of people and consume so much of that, but like sometimes I'm like, I just want to go home and be on my sofa in my pajamas. Like I'm good. But seeing other people win and really succeed in their own lane is what I get most out of serving. Just being able to be a help to other people, especially to women.
I love that. I love that. I love that. What advice would you wait, hold up. My phone went off. What advice would you do or give to somebody who effectively so they can effectively use their gifts? Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so be willing to try different things. Now, I don't mean just go and trying everything. Just because I tried it, I did. Just because you see something. I always give this story about real estate. Like, I admire real estate, but me being a realtor, there's no sense of me doing it. That's not what God called me to do. Okay. Maybe invest in some properties, yes, but being a realtor, no, not. That's not what we're doing. So just being willing to try and explore different things within those spiritual gifts that you have is what's going to lead you to that fulfillment, is what's going to lead you to God's plan and purpose for you to help other people. It's your hands and feet of you. We are the hands and feet of Jesus here on earth. So he's gifted you to do different things so that you can reach certain people. There's a certain audience for you. There's a certain group of people for you. And you got to be willing to try different things and go into different places that other people won't go so that you can meet the needs of those people. Some of us are like, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, we overthink. We're too busy worried about what other people are going to say versus just going out there and trying it. You got to be willing to serve. You got to be willing to go. If you believe you're called to the homeless, you got to be able to go to a homeless shelter. That may not be for me or for somebody else, but he's called you to do that. You are gonna find great fulfillment in that for yourself. But it's gonna be God ordained, because he's gonna bless you for that, for honoring that when nobody else would go.
Absolutely. Sometimes I think we seek other people's approval for our own gifts. Like I know like people may ask me something and I think I'm really good at telling people this is what I think, but that's my thoughts. Because I can't tell you because I didn't hear what God told you. You know what I mean? Like sometimes we can get so boggled down with somebody else's thoughts when we wasn't there. I tell people all the time, take some time out and close the door and go listen to what God told you. Because there's times when I can hear God so plainly. We could be on the phone and God be like, tell her no. No. Right? But then when I tell you what he said and you like, I don't think that that's right. And I go, no, and I don't mean no shade when I go, okay. Because you know what? Maybe I misunderstood. You see what I'm saying? Maybe I misunderstood. And I tell him, go back and talk to your father yourself. Because just like I can speak, just like he talked to me, he can talk to you too. And so, yeah, I love that. I love that. So Shay said, yes, she loves seeing someone get taught and then go out and excel. I love that too. I love that too. Growth is so amazing. I love to see people grow in their gifts. Um, I don't know if y'all follow LaJena. If y'all do, y'all need to. Y'all, she's doing amazing, amazing things. She's giving away a book today, too. Aren't you giving away a book today? I think the answer is yes. It'll take her a minute to answer. And then after she say 2 books. And so what do they need to do to get these 2 books? Y'all know she has a 7-second delay.
So I'm gonna make this very simple. I'm just gonna make this very simple. So I have a pinned post on my Facebook page. My Facebook page is public. I don't believe that it's private. At least I don't think it's private. But there's a pinned post up there. If you would just share that post, the first two people to share that post, and I should be able to see it because you should be able to tag me in it too. Share that post, and I will gift you with the book. Those first two people to do that. Okay.
You have to go to her page, LaJena James page, and share her pinned post. And she's gonna get a ding boop that say you shared it, and then I'm gonna announce on the page that who the winners are. And so we still got 10 minutes left. Oh, you know what? She hasn't gave us her she like her head going. Give us some nuggets and some tea for some authors, for some people in ministry, some life advice, some advice for some mothers. What you got for us?
Sure. So, I would definitely share for anybody that is interested in writing a book. One of the processes that I went through was really just getting my thoughts onto paper, not paper, but getting my thoughts out of my head onto something. And then I went back to kind of format that. I think a lot of times when people think about writing a book, they feel like it can be overwhelming, but really decide what it is that you want to talk about. Stay with that particular subject. If it's Christian content, then make sure that it is supported by scripture and the word of God, because you want it to be biblically accurate what you're sharing. But really just start with that thought process of what it is that you have, and just put all your thoughts down on there. Then you can go back and start cleaning it up. I had to really stick to a schedule when it came to writing, because that kept me on task, especially when you are self-publishing. I was just gracious enough to have a publisher for those particular two books. However, I was still doing a lot of this stuff on my own, right? So sticking with a schedule. If you decide, hey, I want to put a book out in the next, 3 months, then what is that writing schedule going to look like? You need to be writing on a weekly basis. And I would even go down to say you need to be writing on a daily basis. Even if it's you writing for 30 minutes, I'm just going to go in and write and stick with that. You can go back and clean up later. I edit. So you can find an editor. But just write. Don't worry about what it sounds like, looks like yet. Go back and read that stuff later. But get in the habit of actually writing, and get in the habit of reading, because I think sometimes as authors, like, or people that aspire to write or be an author, is you want to so much write, but you're not consuming anything as well. Be careful what you're consuming, but also get in the process of reading, because you want your words to speak to the reader. And that's something that I definitely had to learn when writing this book, is how is the reader going to be receiving it? I'm not the reader. I'm the writer. So
Right,
how is the reader going to be receiving and reading the content that you're going to be putting out? So that was definitely a journey for me in learning that. And then just learning that there are various types of books that you can write. So I had a really heavy content book that was 100 and something pages, 150 something pages, that had at least 500 words per page. And then I had a low content book, which was still 150 pages, but it included a scripture, journal questions that were repeated throughout the book, and, just different lines where people can write in that. So there's different ways that you can create books that are still going to be successful. Something that you definitely want to do is probably look at data research and see, question your network, what it is that people in your network, your circle, your community, what are they looking for? What are they coming to you for? And you can create definitely on that. So something else I can add to that for people that are maybe have a family, you're a mom, you're a wife, your ministry, and you got a lot of stuff going on and you're writing. you just have all the things going on. The schedule is going to be different, but also having that conversation with your family beforehand and say, hey, I'm about to embark upon this journey. I really need your support on this. That means household stuff. There are so many different productivity tools that can help you out. That's going to keep you on track with that. I did a lot of crock pot stuff. Okay. And
I love it. I love it.
I did 2 to 3 meals, maybe at the most a week, if I'm the one cooking because my husband travels a lot. But, as far as that, like, keep yourself on a schedule. There is no such thing as balance. I think there's such thing as being productive and choosing what you're going to do with your time, and how you steward that time well. And God is going to honor how you do that, because you'll look up and be like, I don't even know how I was able to even get through this process. I was telling a friend of mine yesterday, I was like, I remember starting a business in 2013 and then still teaching full time, teaching full time and theater on top of that. So that takes a whole lot of your time, right? I'm like, I don't know how I was able to start a business, have a family, working my job, doing plays. I'm like, it was really only by the grace of God that I was able to do all of that, because I'm looking back now, I'm thinking, there's no way I was in my right mind. I probably was snapping at people. I'm sure of it. I'm sure of it. But really, God will grace you, and you really look up and you will be amazed at the things that He will allow you to do, because you honor and you steward your time well.
Guys, I don't know if y'all heard her, but she said it a million times. She said time and schedule. Time and schedule. Like she said it so many times, and I say it on the show all the time. She said you have to be a steward of your time. She didn't use the word organized, but I bet you she's organized. If she has a time, if she has the schedule. You heard her talk about she already have her meals pre-planned. Like I'm putting stuff in crock pots. The only way, and I said, the only way you're going to be successful is you have to schedule your time. Time management. I'm telling you, every success. I want y'all to think about it. How do y'all think actors and musicians and people of influence and people with money is able to juggle so much? They have a time schedule. I don't care how much money you make. If they got to be on a set at a certain time, am I right, LaJena? If they got to catch flights from A to B, they got to get on those flights on a certain time. They have to. Sometimes they do movies in different countries. They do scenes in different places. So y'all, I'm just telling y'all, y'all got to get that time schedule together, okay? But thank you so much. I just wanted to emphasize, because you said time and schedule so many times. I want to make sure that they heard it. This beautiful lady has 2 children. She has a husband. She's written several books in, I think she said, like 45 days. Like she said, if you put a time to it, she would. Usually she could intervene what I'm saying, but she having a little bit of technical difficulties. So I just got to keep talking until she jump in. But she like, I'm good. So, and so she was able to do. They said they admire your obedience. And she said, and after you used the word that was so good, she said, God honors your obedience. And He does. Go ahead.
Yeah. I was gonna add that, we make time, and this is cliche. Everybody says it. You make time what you want to make time for. Like, people set those things aside, but God really looks at what you're doing with the time that you do have, because there's gonna come a time where you're gonna need more time, and you're gonna wonder where that time has gone. Honor the time that God has given you. And I really had to look at and assess. I keep using that word, but you really have to look at and assess and reflect, like, where am I spending most of my time? Influencing is something that I do. Instagram is my main platform, but I had to look at, am I being a part of the scroll hole, or am I on here being productive? And I'm like, am I engaging with people, or am I just on here just scrolling just to be scrolling? You know, because we'll get caught up on TikTok and Instagram and all the things because things are funny. It's getting our attention. When I could have used that last 30 minutes to write, or I could have used that last 30 minutes to plan our meals for the week, or I could have used, you know, just 10 minutes just to read, or 10 minutes just to sit and think. Like, people don't realize how important it is to set aside time to think. And you're like, we always, and women especially, and I'm speaking because it was me, and I sometimes still do this. We think about all the things that we have in our head, all the things that we have going on. We talk about how we don't have a lot of time to do all these things, and we want to do so much. But do you even give yourself time to sit and just think? Get your thoughts out of your head onto something so that you can see it. Because when you run it, I don't know who said this, but something about dreams, if they're not coming to light, they're just like a hallucination. You know, we think about things and we have these ideas of what we want to do, and it just kind of stays in our head. When we put it on paper and we can see it, it is likely to become, is going to manifest. It's going to be fruitful. We're going to be able to see it because we had the idea to put it down, to get it out of our heads, because we stopped, we sat, we think. God gives us dreams. God gives us ideas. It may not be that it needs to come to pass right now, but we have to take the time out to sit with our thoughts and think on the things that we have.
Let me tell you, LaJena, today, I got up I supposed to get up at 4, and I laid it down to about 4:30, and I got up at 4:30 and I was stretching. And God said, get up. And I was like, all right, I'm getting up. And I was stretching. And when he tell me to get up, I always get up and I get my pen, because he have some things he had to say. And something I wrote down was all my thoughts. I have to make sure that all the thoughts that he gives me this week need to turn into ideas, and they need to turn into things. And so that's what we're not understanding. When God give us a thought, that thought needs to that's an idea that needs to turn into things. And it really does fit together. But what happens is he gives it to us, and we're so busy. And we're so busy that thought goes into the atmosphere, or we're too busy that we can't make that thought into a thing. And I'm going to tell you what I know about the God that we serve. If you don't do the thing that he give you, he's going to give it to somebody else. Because what God wants to come into fruition, it's going to come. If he wants something to happen, he's going to use somebody else to make that thing happen. And he gave it to you, but you didn't use it. There's so many gifts that he gives to us that we don't use. And so he's like, okay, well, but even though you didn't use it, I still need that plant to be watered. So let me get somebody else to water that plant. And then when that plant grow and it water, they're going to benefit from the growth, you know? And it's true. And so do you have any more questions? So Shay said, I'm definitely do this. I'm a procrastinator and I'm disorganized. And that's a thorn in my side, but I do this myself, but I do it to myself every time. Shay, I hate to hear that, and I totally understand what you're saying. But I like that you know it, but now you have to take that responsibility and say, I know that I procrastinate, and then find a way to stop the procrastination. And so set your alarm. I'm just going to give you something that's super simple. And LaJena, please jump in if you have a better one. And so my husband had this thing that he did a few months ago. I think it was last year. I don't remember what it was. And his alarm would go off every so often and be like, boom. And when it's long off, he'd go. So he had to ask himself, what are you doing? Right? And it was holding himself accountable to his time. Like, what was I doing? Because let me tell you what I'm supposed to have been doing, right? And so I used to have these stars up, and I said I must go back and put these stars up. I used to have these stars on my wall, and my goal was to have at least 20 stars moved over, right? Because I think I had like 50 of them of things that I wanted to get done for today, right? And so I would grade myself on how many stars that I moved over for the day. But then I ain't gonna lie, I just got lazy about moving all the stars over. And so I just stopped doing it. But find you a way to hold yourself accountable, Shay, you know, like I have my vision board planner. And so at the end of the night, I look at it and that's how I hold my, okay, Rachel, you did good today. My husband come up, you did good today. How do I know? Because I have my planner. And my planner don't lie. It's either I did it or I didn't do the work. You got something to help her out with, LaJena?
Yeah, so one of the things I was gonna add is look at your this is something I did with my coach, is a day at a glance, or
Ooh.
your day at a glance. I think that's the way you say it. Look at your day. This is something you can do tomorrow and just track your time from the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, and just write out the things that you've done throughout the day. This is really going to put reality in front of your face to see what I did today. Now, this may not be every day, but this is your day at a glance. And then you can start looking, okay, how can I really look at my time different or manage my time differently? I am not organized by nature. It is something that I intentionally have to do because I am not. I will be all over the place. But something that helped me, and I like that you said that, Rachel, too, is setting a timer. Now, sometimes I hit the snooze button on this timer, and it will not get done. But I also like to look at doing different notes. So if you are a paper person, just putting up sticky notes around yourself. And I'm not sure what it is, Shay, that you're are trying to accomplish for your day or just in general. But just another way of becoming a little bit more organized is really talk. You have to look at yourself. What is it that I want?
Ooh.
What is it? Who is it that I want to become? Because your procrastination, your disorganization is going to stop you and halt you from becoming that person that you truly believe that you are, or that you desire to become. So we can be our own, we can self-sabotage so badly. And we really just have to look in the mirror. Where can I do better? And start with the one thing. You don't have to do all the things. Just start with one thing. If it's, I need to get up 30 minutes early because I need to work out, or I need to read my Bible earlier during the day. Start with that time. Even if it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it is, just start with one thing and be consistent with that one thing for 30 days. Then you can go to the next thing, because then what you start to realize is, okay, I was faithful over this time. Then what's the next thing that I can do? Because then you begin to feel good about yourself. Oh, good, I accomplished this. I was able to knock this out. I was able to do this. If it's reorganizing your pantry, pick a Saturday and say, I'm going to completely declutter this and organize my pantry. And you're going to feel so good about yourself because it's a goal that you set. It's something that you desire to do, and then that's going to push you to want to do something else. So I don't like it when people say, well, do like a complete makeover, rehaul. No, you don't have to do it. Just start with one thing. And that one thing is going to be trickle into something else. It's kind of like the snowball debt that Dave Ramsey does in Financial Peace University. Start with the small debt and then snowball it. Take that $50, put it into the next 50, whatever the next bill is, and the next bill. And soon enough, you will be out of debt because you're snowballing it. You're running it. Soon you will be more organized because you're snowballing it. Soon you won't be the procrastinator anymore because you're snowballing. You're stewarding your time much better. So I was just gonna add it. Just start with the one thing, whatever that is, but really look at your day at a glance and see what it is that I'm doing throughout my day. Who is it that I desire to be, and how am I doing it? How am I becoming her now on a daily basis?
I love it. I love it. I love it. Guys, I hope y'all had y'all pen and y'all papers. I hope y'all got some of these nuggets, because I know I took me down me some little nuggets. Thank you, LaJena James, Coach James. She said, thank you, ladies, so much. I bite off so much. I want you right. One thing at a time. That's it. Just one. And you're gonna feel so much better, because when my husband come home, he be like, what you got done today? And I be like, I knocked out da 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 da. And no, I didn't do the 100 things that I put on my list, but I did the top 10. And I feel good about the top 10. If I go to 12, I'm like, yeah, girl, knocked out 10 times. Right. Thanks for the nuggets to go with this. Thanks for the nuggets to go with the sauce. You're welcome. You're welcome. And so you gonna dance with us out, Miss LaJena? Look at she gonna start laughing. Now all of a sudden her phone broke. No, but she can hear, baby. She can hear. All right, well, I gotta put him on there.
All right, here we go.
Thank you for tuning in today. It would mean the world to me if you will leave a review, a rating, and subscribe to my show. Please share with your family and friends if you enjoyed the show. This show, Imagine the Blueprint, is for you. So send me a message with the topics you want us to discuss. Until next time, y'all stay safe.